Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully everybody can hear me, but I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to be spraying out some Line Metal Flake. This sprays out of a one. It says a 1.4 tip or bigger, but it actually sprays out of a 1.3 or bigger, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be spraying out this out of the Line 1.3 gun. So thanks for being here. We're going to get right to it, like I said. Any questions? I'll come back and answer those for you. But like I said, we're just going to get right into it to make sure that we get this done right time. I can always answer the questions between coats as well. So. All right, so let me jump in here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm in the paint booth. But what I have right here is a Harley Davidson Softail Springer. It is a CVO, and it's been painted some kind of a CVO color. It's been sanded down right now with 600 grit with a DA sander. I wet sanded it down. Even though the factory pinstripe is still there, you can't feel it. It's all been wiped down with wax and grease remover, and then I hit it with some glass cleaner and stuff like that. But there was a little bit of a problem with the front fender, so that's why it's already primed black. All right. Okay. We're going to mix up. The first thing we need to do is mix up some black base coat, because if you follow the instructions right here, let me make sure I'm zoomed in good. Let's see. Let's get this lined up here. We have the instructions on the back. So hopefully y'all can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. But it says to spray 3 coats of black base coat over the top, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And for this, we're going to use Speedo Coat Jet Black Base Coat. And let's go ahead and get that. We're using the PPS style, the old PPS style system. We're going to use the jet black base coat here. Let's see if I can get the lid off of this thing. All right, this is mixed at about a 1-to-1 with urethane reducer, which is right over there. All right. Now, I'm actually going to, a lot of times I do shake it up in the cup. And I am going to go ahead and stir it with a stir stick. But that's mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio. So 1 part the jet black base coat by Speedo Line, and then any urethane reducer, whether it's fast, slow, or just a medium, it doesn't matter really. I mean, you can make it work. All right, like I said, we're going to be using the Line 1.3. I'm going to go ahead and put my first coats on here, and then I can come back and answer some of these questions if you guys have any. Okay, anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about air pressure. Right now, let me get all the air sucked out of this. So I have this at about 2 bars, which is at about 29 psi. I have this little spray out right here. We can check out to see what the pattern's going to look like. That looks fine. I mean, as long as you're blending out good and you don't have like just huge particle chunks, you may need to up your air pressure. You may need to reduce it a little more. Once again, you guys just got to play with it, but that's what it should look like. So once again, these are all cleaned up with wax and grease remover, ready to go. I am going to grab one thing. So I do use a tack rag. I'm just going to gently wipe any of the dust that may have floated on the parts. Okay, a couple of things to know with base coat. A lot of people think that they need to spray it on like real heavy and make it really glossy. That's not the case. Really, you want to spray this on really fairly dry because you just don't really want to pound it on. So we're going to put what they call a tap coat on. We're just going to kind of just skim over it. That way, the reducers and the solvents have plenty of time just to release, and then it dries quicker, and we can it actually moves along faster if we do light coats, and you kind of see why. All right, let me show you guys close up. So as you can see, it's not fully covered. And it's already dry. It's ready for another coat. I had a black primer on this, so this is going to get covered fairly quickly. That makes it easy. But see here, you can see on the tank. That'll give you a good idea of what the first coat should look like right here. You see it's already flashed off. We're not pounding it on. There's no reason to do that. All right, like I said, since we didn't spray a whole lot on there, it's already flashed off and ready for another coat. So we're gonna do that. All right, as you can see, it looks a little bit wet right here, but it's starting to flash off really quick. And that's how base coat is supposed to work. You don't pile it on to make it look glossy. That's not what you're trying to do. We're layering this in coats. And let's see if you can see here. We're still not all the way 100% covered. Still does need one more coat. Maybe not so much on the front fender because it was primed black, but definitely on these. Like I said, it's almost ready for another coat. You can see it's just a little bit glossy here. By the time I get to it, I'll go ahead and hit these fenders. By the time I get to that tank, it'll be ready for the final coat that we're going to put on it of the black base coat. All right, I'm going to look this over, and I think we're ready. Looks like we're at full coverage with the black base coat. But like I said with the base coat, guys, don't pile it all on all at once. It's not like clear coat. We're not trying to make it look glossy or anything like that. We're just trying to get it on in coats. So, all right, we're ready to mix some metal flake here. Let's get this camera moved. All right, stick around, guys, because we'll have some dry times that I'll be able to answer some of the questions that you might have. But for now, we're just going to keep moving because it's ready to go. All right, so the next steps here to mix, we're going to do 3 coats. So we're going to mix this with 1 pint of clear coat. So let's get the Speedo coat out of the way. So we're going to use U-Pull 2882, or you can use any kind of economy clear that's like that. This stuff works great for multiple clear coat sessions. I've talked about that before, but this stuff's good for that. I do top it off with something a little bit different, but you could use this as well and go all the way through the process and be just fine. All right, this stuff's mixed at a 4-to-1 ratio. So 4 parts of the clear coat. That might just be a little bit too much. Yeah, I put a little bit too much in there. Let me pour that back. 4-to-1 ratio. Then we're going to go ahead and mix up the metal flake in there. So this is a mixture of 0.008 and 0.004. The whole packet in there. Then I'm going to grab a lid. One thing that's important to know, you do need to take the filter out of these lids right here before you spray the flake. So I'll round up a razor blade. Here, pull that guy out. See that? Don't need that. It's just going to get caught right there. So this flake is made to, it says on the package 1.4 or bigger, but it does spray out of the Line 1.3, which that's what I use for pretty much everything right now. Okay, and we want to make sure that that's locked in there really good, which it is. And we'll put the retainer ring. And I didn't mix that up, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll mix it a little bit more once I slap my gun on there, but we're just about ready. Let's move you into the booth here. All right. So everything now is in black base coat. Looks great. I do need to clean out this gun. I am using the same gun, the 1.3 Line gun that I just got done using. I'm using that same gun to spray this flake as well. All right. I'm going to shake this up in the cup a little bit more. Keep it agitated. Whenever we leave it too, we always want to leave it upside down and make sure that you don't leave it right side up and all the flake will just run to the tip. So we'll talk about that later, but we're gonna get right to it. Once again, same gun, about the same air pressure. We're just gonna apply it like another cap coat. We're not gonna pound it on anymore. This is clear coat, so it does take longer to dry. So we will have some dry times in between. All right, that looks like a pretty good first coat right here. Let's check out this fender. All right, that at least gives you a good idea of what the first coat should look like. We're not piling it all on because we don't want to make it run. That'd be the worst thing that could happen. It's one thing to be light in some areas, but you really don't want it to run because it'll show. All right, since we sprayed that so light, and it's actually pretty warm in here, it's about 80 degrees in the booth. Since it's so warm, I'm ready to hit this with another coat. We're gonna go ahead and do that. All right, that's looking pretty good. I didn't run it, so that's a good sign. But here's what a second coat should look like. And we're damn near getting covered. You know, we're not looking for 100% coverage, but we definitely want it to lay out smooth and uniform to whatever it is. I personally like to have a lot of flake in it to where it's almost all the way covered. So we're going to do one more coat after this. It's a little wet, so we are going to have to wait a few minutes here. All right, you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll try to go back here and see, but we do have about 5 minutes or so. I can kind of go through some of these questions. Any reducer in the clear? Nope, no reducer in the clear coat right now. I will put a little bit of reducer in it later on once we go to smooth it out. How do I have the fenders attached to the poles? They're just sitting on there. There's nothing attaching them. They're just balanced on there. It's probably a better way, but I like it like that because there's not a whole lot of surface attached to the bottom. What's the minimum air compressor requirement to be able to shoot? You definitely want a dual stage compressor. Yeah, dual stage, 50 gallon I think is what normally is. But you don't need as much when you're spraying with a gun, but when you go to sanding with air sanders and stuff like that, it just doesn't keep up. The best one they have at Harbor Freight works. It's like $1,000. What's up from Russia? What's up? What's the minimum tip for crushed glass? You're I think at a 1.7 is what you're going to use on that. You can use a 2.0. You just don't want to run it. I wouldn't spray the clear coat after that to mellow it out. I wouldn't do that with the same gun. You could do it with a 1.7 though, all the way through. Yeah, so if you already have a black bike, can I just Scotch-Brite it and paint it Battleship gray? Yeah, I mean, you got to clean it. So you would want to clean it with wax and grease remover before you even sand on it or anything like that. That way you're not grinding anything into the paint. Feather out any edges with 600 grit and yeah, clean it up and Scotch-Brite the edges, and you can do that. Could I do a tutorial on coarse crushed glass? That's what I've already done that. I don't use any techniques to where I blow it on because it puts too much texture on. It's hard to get it to lay out flat. And, I mean, this thing has to be smooth when it's done. All right, so looks like we're ready to get back in there. Go check it at least. Yeah, I just touched it a little bit on the tape where I taped out where all that fuel stuff goes. It's not tacky, so we're ready to go with another coat of the last coat of the Flake. And that's where we're at right there. So that's 3 coats of the Limelight Metal Flake in it's mixed in 2K clear coat. We're not done yet though. Not quite done yet. Whew. All right, it's getting warm. We have a few minutes. We can answer some questions if anybody has anything. What airbrush tip do I use most? It's 0.035, but a 0.05 is probably what you want to start out with. Thanks, guys. I've been airbrushing for 20 years. I just recently started getting good like in the last 10 years. I've sucked for a long time. All right, yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and check this and see where we're at, if we're ready to move into with the straight clear coat right now or not. Let's check it out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and touch it right here on the tape. And how you know if you're ready for another coat or not is if it springs up, you can look at it real close, hopefully you can see it. If it springs up, that means that you need to wait a little bit longer. But if it's tacky, you're okay to go. This is like almost about ready, like another minute. It's just a little bit stringy. That's a good way to test if you're ready. So we're going to go ahead and mix up the clear coat that we need to be able to vary the texture of the flake. And there's not a whole lot of texture because we've sprayed it on. It's kind of laid out fairly flat, but we still need to spray some clear on in order to mellow all that out. All right, so we used the U-pole with the Limelight. That's what we just got done spraying on there. And now we're just gonna go straight with the clear coat. We're gonna keep going in coats. So whatever the dry time usually says with the clear coat is probably what you wanna go off of. But once again, dry times are different for a lot of different circumstances. So the best way is, like I showed you over there, is to test it. Test it to see how tacky it is. All right, we're going to put a new liner in there. And we don't need to pull the filter out of this. Not necessary. We're just flowing straight clear coat. Once again, this is mixed at a 4-to-1 ratio. once again, make sure that lid's locked in there good. With the collar. And we're ready to go. All right, that's laying out really nicely. You can start to see it's really starting to look wet. Now this is where the drive times really come in to matter, because we got a compilation of a lot of solvents on here, so it takes longer for obviously for it to evaporate. All right, so we just got done with the first coat of regular clear coat on that, and we're going to give that a little bit to dry. Hey, what's up, Brazil? Appreciate you being here. Well, what time is it there? Thanks, Todd. Have I rushed a job and paid for it with solvent pop before? I try not to rush jobs, and it doesn't really happen anymore, but I never have a problem with solvent pop. I know that some painters complain about it a lot, but I've never had an issue. I use the U-Pol clear coat, and it doesn't build quite as much. That's probably the reason why, you know, you can keep coating it. But I mean, some of that stuff, some of these collision shops and stuff, they just want to get it done in one or two coats. You know, and then it's out the door. But that's not how it is with custom paint. It's different. What would I charge on the tank and fenders that I'm spraying? So usually a set tank and fenders, you can, I mean, depending on what's involved, but it's under 3,000. So yes, so they're asking, am I using the same gun for all the steps? And you don't need to do anything with the gun between coats and stuff like cleaning it out. Yeah, so you, in this case, since we're using the same clear coat all the way through, I mean, yeah, so I cleaned the gun after base coat, and then I did not clean it between the flake and this last clear coat that I mixed up for it, because there was such a little bit amount in the gun that it pretty much blows out the first second. So I don't waste the lacquer on it. That's the way I do it. How often do you clean your spray booth? Not enough. It needs to be cleaned now. But I'm getting ready to do the final clear coat on some stuff that's actually right here. And I'm going to clean it right before that happens. Can I do a demo on the gun? Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I can do a demo. I got a lot of other stuff coming out too. I have some sandpaper and other stuff that I'm going to be demoing, but yeah, I can probably do that. I need to. I know that. It works great for what we do here with motorcycle parts. I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything. It is still an entry level gun too, as well. I mean, some of these guns get up into $1,000. The Limeline gun with the cups is, under 200 on Amazon. Here's the spray booth heated, and I just got a regular natural heater in the shop, furnace style, and it was 10 degrees this morning, so I do have just a little shop heater, a propane heater set up outside the door here to make sure that I keep it warm enough. I only have to do that when it's super cold, though. What's up, Chris? So the undersides, I do what Harley does. You just paint over and underneath. But no, when I'm flaking it, I don't flake the underneath. I don't flake the edges. You don't really want to put a whole lot of buildup on the edges. And then when I stylize my graphics, I always use the edge anyways, and then it goes black from the edge down. So it's going to get blacked out. There's no reason to put all that flake and that build on those edges. But yes, in the later stages, that will get blended up underneath with, in this case, black base coat or silver and red base coat. We'll have to see. How many coats for final clear? So you usually do 3 to 4 coats per session. You don't want to do any more than that. If you start layering, like, if you think you're like, okay, I'm going to do 10 coats on this, paint only holds up for so long for so many coats, and 4 is the max. If you're spraying them real light, I would say 5, even 6 coats if you're not spraying it to like what you should be. But if you're spraying them thick and heavy, 3, 4 coats is max. Yeah, somebody asked if I use I can actually pop these right up. If I use the same product for painting helmets, like the paint from the Flake compressor, yeah, I do. I use everything. But if you are just painting helmets, you can get away with a lot less. You can get away with like a Craftsman or something, one that has wheels. Probably get away with that because you don't need all. You're not using all that air consumption. I mean, you'll have enough in the tank. But it might be a pain in the ass. You'll get it done, though. Still planning a design transfer to Cricut Machine live feed. Yeah. Like I said, I need to learn a little bit more about that. All right. I think we're ready for another coat. We've got 2 more to go on here. Let's go check it out. No, see, it's a little bit stringy. You can see, not quiet, but that's staying close though. What's my advice for keeping up with the after process with wax? Yeah, you should definitely wax your stuff maybe 3 times a year. I'm not that, I don't have that great of advice for aftercare. I've always just been painter. But yeah, wax is a good thing. It helps protect the clear coat and whatnot. The stands are not, they're just something I have. I know some people build them out of 2x4s and stuff like that, just something I had. All right. No more questions right now. I'm going to get back in the booth, and I think we're about ready. Here we go. All right. It's looking good. That actually is laying out really good. It could actually leave it at that point, but I am going to over reduce this last little bit I have in the cup here in about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe more like 5 minutes, and we'll put the last coat on there. You kind of see what it looks like. But yeah, I will over reduce this last little bit of clear coat to make it kind of flow out a little better. Any questions, anybody? I can help you out. Let me know. Now's the time. I can help you guys out with any questions. Can you bake in your booth or just let it dry? We just let it dry. You don't need it. You don't need anything fancy. I started painting out of my garage, and you don't need anything special. Are you getting my questions? I don't know. Maybe I am. Yeah, let's see here. So, Hell on Wheels says, you have such a broad range on your paint styles that you do. What were your influences to give you such an awesome taste? Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know. I paint what I like, and yeah, it always changes. You know, like 10 years ago, I loved painting skulls and the fire, and it definitely paid the bills. But I like bright colors. I like the mini truck graphics, and so I'm always inspired by the guys that do that really good. But yeah, thank you. That's a very nice compliment. Do you ever worry about the flake clogging the gun if you let it sit too long, more than a few minutes? Yeah, so I do let it sit upside down like this, and then you just pull the trigger and allow it for all the fluid to come out and drain back into the cup. So I'll usually just prop it up like that, or if you have a gun holder, just do it upside down. That way it stays in that, and then I always shake it and keep it agitated. You know how they like to be agitated. They like that. What's my inspiration? Mentor teacher for airbrushing? Craig Fraser, back in the days. I mean, there's a lot of them. Gerald Mendez, and the textures that he taught kind of were groundbreaking. If I haven't got to your question, you can re-ask it here. I can. All right. Hi, can I use 2K clear coat over water-based? Yes, you can. You should be able to. Depends on the water-based you're using. But if you're going to do anything like that, just make sure you're not applying like a ton of clear at first. Like we did earlier on this, we just laid down a tack coat that kind of allowed everything kind of time to adhere and the solvents to evaporate. Because if you just pile it on, all those solvents are going to sit on top of your water-based paint or whatever you have, and it gives it too much time to disturb it. The reducer is just there to make things thin enough to spray it out and make it smooth, and then it evaporates. Well, if you just pile it on and it lays on there, and you're gonna have a problem. It's just gonna eat away at whatever you have as far as the base goes. So don't pile it on at first. That's all I can say about that. Take it easy. That should be the slogan for when you start painting. Hey man, take it easy. Don't throw it all on at once. You got to do layers and coats. Is the clear that I'm using defined as an inner coat clear? No, it's not. It's a 2K clear coat. It's a regular clear coat. We'll sand this after it's all dry, and then anything we have on top of that will adhere to that surface that's sanded. Thanks, JP. Family's watching. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. How many times should I use inner coat clear in between airbrushing graphics? Well, as much as you feel like you need to. I mean, inner coat clear applies really thin, and you can even apply the clear coat with an airbrush, just to kind of, build a protective surface. But inner coat clear will never be what clear coat does. Clear coat is chemically hardens, and inner coat clear doesn't. It's just a clear base coat. So don't get those two confused, because they both do different things and they're completely different. What can you recommend for bumper grills to get rock chips, anti-rock chip guard? I don't know if I have an answer to that question. I actually don't deal with any of that. Probably the Rhino liner or some Raptor liner. But do I know of anything that's hard enough? You can use, yeah. I'm not sure on that. I would probably answer it wrong. Send you in the wrong direction. Thanks, Roman. All right, I think we're about ready. So we're gonna, real quick, so this is the clear mixture that we have left. And I'm just gonna reduce it just a little bit more. Actually, instead of pulling that whole lid off, that's why I have this thing here anyways. Might as well use it. So yeah, I use this little ketchup bottle. That way I can just squirt without even taking the ring off or anything. I just squirt a little bit of reducer in there. So this reducer is used for a lot of different things. As you can see, we use this for reducing the base coat. Now we're reducing a little bit of the clear coat to make it a little bit thinner, so it kind of flow out a little bit better, since this is the last coat we're doing. And we can use it in primers and stuff like that as well. So definitely urethane reducer. So we're just going to reduce is about 10% of what's in there, which is not that much. All right, last coat. All right. It's a lot of work. It doesn't look like that much work, but it is. So get paid. Don't do it for free. And it hurts the whole industry by doing it for free or for cheap. Don't do it. Charge people. Charge them. If you do 7 or 8 coats, wet, sand, and polish, shit's off the hook. Yeah, it is. I would prefer to do 4 coats, sand it with 600 grit, fix up all little errors. If you have errors, hit it with another 4 coats, then sand and polish. That way you can get it like that next round of clear coat. That last round is just so smooth because it has such a smooth surface to lay on. Base coat leaves texture. It doesn't smooth out like clear coat. So, hell yeah. Thanks, Eric. Eric hooked it up on a super chat, $20. I really appreciate that. That's very awesome of you to do that. Ever use iridescent flake? Yeah, I mean rainbow flake. Yeah, iridescent flake. I like it. I did it on my daughter's car. It's good for. It's good if you like rainbow flake. I prefer to have just regular silver. That way you can tint it with the candy colors, and not have the rainbow effect. I guess you can do a lot more with just silver and not have to have that rainbow. All right, so we're actually done here. If you guys have any other questions, let me know right now because I can answer them for you. Hopefully, I can answer. Frank hooked it up. Thanks, Frank. $20 super chat. I don't know if it's the same Frank. I think I shipped a Frank the other day some stuff, but thank you. I appreciate that. Let me know if you guys need any help with anything. What temperature humidity in the booth? Humidity is Utah humidity. I think you're going to be all right unless if the humidity is like really moist, I guess. But the temperature is about 75 degrees, probably 80 degrees in the booth. If you can get it up to 80, even 90 degrees, I like to spray it when it's even warmer. Less chance of stuff running. They used to use real glass. You can get it still at Paint Huffer. They use real glass still, huh? Wow. So if you're going to use real glass, I'd definitely wear a respirator. I wouldn't really mess with that. Yeah, but people have used to use crushed glass for sure. All right, guys. Thanks, Frank, Eric. Appreciate that. If you guys have any other final questions, we can get them taken care of. But if not, I'll be going live again probably next Tuesday. So this will re-air. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. I know somebody said something about airbrush murals. I haven't done that in quite a while, and would like to revisit that before I forget everything I know. It's been seriously like 6 months since I've painted anything like that. But yeah, maybe I'll do some even Christmas inspired, maybe the Grinch or something, I don't know. All right, Jason. Hey, I appreciate that. Hey, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this. You're here. Appreciate that. And we'll see you on the next one.